Previously on Crowforest Reviews.
Well, I haven't seen anything. How about you? No, nothing.
Come with me. Our community was overrun by a cult. I wish you luck.
And now the continuation. Well, we're still in here.
We are.
I'm running out of things to talk about.
Oh, we can talk about the Poisoner's Handbook.
Oh, well, look at the time. I would, but I just really think that I should do a follow-up on the whole Flutterbat situation. I just feel like that's what the people want is all.
Why can't we ever talk about the Poisoner's Handbook?
Next time. Hello and welcome to Crowforest Reviews. Bats. The episode opens with Applejack being way too excited about the new harvest of apples. But then she's completely devastated when it turns out that vampire fruit bats have eaten all of the apples from the inside out. Somehow. That really isn't ever explained.
But these aren't just your everyday ordinary fruit bats. They're vampire fruit bats.
So it turns out that Applejack has grown an absurdly large apple, and she's afraid that the vampire fruit bats will eat it. But of course Fluttershy is more concerned about the poor innocent bats, and doesn't want to chase them off. And so, this conflict between the two friends leads to where all such conflicts between friends lead in this universe. To a song number.
They don't care about nada, not zilch, no nothing, except bringing about an orchard's destruction.
Now wait just a minute, there's another side to this. And if I did not defend them, then I would be remiss.
So anyway, the others all side with Applejack, but Fluttershy still insists that the bats are living creatures that deserve their respect, and she suggests that they could build a sanctuary for them, but Applejack will have none of it. And so Twilight suggests that they should use magic to make the bats not want to eat apples anymore, because that's going to end well. So they round up the bats, and then Fluttershy does her famous stare on them to distract them while Twilight casts a spell on them. So the next morning, Applejack goes out to the orchard to buck apples, but it turns out that the apples have still been eaten. But it wasn't the bats that did it. Also, Fluttershy is acting really weird, but I'm sure those two things aren't related at all. The ponies all search through the orchard to find the cause of the apple destruction, and they find Fluttershy, who has been turned into a vampire fruit bat pony. It turns out that Twilight's spell backfired onto Fluttershy, giving her the vampire fruit bat's craving for apple juice. Wait, wasn't that the plot to Wallace and Gromit the Were-Rabbit? Anyway, obvious rip-offs aside, Applejack uses the giant apple to lure Fluttershy into a trap, and then she rolls the apple aside to reveal a mirror, which of course reverses the spell. Because, as everyone knows, if a vampire sees its reflection, it dies. Except vampires can't see their reflections. Maybe the reason it reverses the spell is because Fluttershy did the stare on herself? Except that she wasn't doing the stare, so that can't be it. Maybe the reason why vampires can't see their reflection is because if they did see their reflections, they would die. And that's why it undoes the spell here. Except that as a vampire fruit bat pony, Fluttershy shouldn't be able to see her reflection either, so I have no idea what just happened. Okay, I have no idea what just happened, but oh well, it's resolved now. So the episode ends with Applejack finally taking Fluttershy's suggestion and building a sanctuary for the vampire fruit bats, followed by a dramatic zoom-up of Fluttershy's vampire fangs, suggesting that it's not over yet. Even though it is. So, that's confusing.
Are you done yet?
Yes, I'm done.
Great! Now I get to talk about the Poisoner's Handbook. Anyway. Prologue. Poison Game. Until the early 19th century, few tools existed to detect a toxic substance in a corpse. Sometimes investigators deduced poison from the violent sickness that preceded death, or built a case by feeding animals a victim's last meal. But more often than not, poisoners walked free. As a result, murder by poison flourished. It became so common in eliminating perceived difficulties, such as wealthy parents who stayed alive too long, that the French nicknamed the metallic element arsenic poudre de succession, the inheritance powder. The chemical revolution of the 1800s changed the relative ease of such killings. Scientists learned to isolate and identify the basic elements and the chemical compounds that define life on Earth, gradually building a catalog, the periodic table of the elements. In 1804, the elements palladium, cerium, iridium, osmium, and rubidium were discovered. Potassium and sodium.
We have to find Crowforest.
But I've scanned the entirety of Lego World already. They aren't here.
Then there's only one other place they could be. A pocket dimension between here and there. They must be inside a miniature. We need to find the Phantom's lair.
Thanks!
It's about time.
Well, I'm certainly glad that's over with.
This isn't over.